And could I just be me sometimes with Kody? No, he didn't like that.
And that's one of the more powerful messages for me in this particular episode. She had to pretend to be something she wasn't. Let's get it. Time invested in a relationship should never be the sole reason as to why you continue that relationship. One of the things that was brought out during the tell-all was Kody's assumption that because they had suffered and they sacrificed so much and they spent so much time together, he and his ex, Christine, should have stayed together. Regardless of the inconvenience, regardless of the suffering that either party underwent, they should stay together because they had so much time together. Now, I understand that there's a natural cause where everybody wants to look at these types of things and say that you have to stay loyal, you have to stay faithful, you have to stay in there and keep fighting. And I understand that, but you also have to ask the next question, which is, what am I fighting for? What am I fighting for? Am I fighting for a principle? Am I fighting just because I was here yesterday, so I'm fighting for my right to be here today? Are you fighting for your happiness? Are you fighting for your fulfillment? Are you fighting so that you are completing your life and you're reaching your life's goals? And that's one of the big questions that you have to ask. There's always going to be people who are going to look at the situation and say, well, I can sympathize with Kody because he put so much time into it. And he was, he's going through things too. And a lot of times people ignore the pain and suffering that Kody's undergoing and the things that he's going through. And they're ignoring that because they're so on Christine's side. It's not a matter of sides. It's a matter of doing what's right. If you see somebody who is suffering in this situation, what Kody is asking Christine to do is to continue suffering so that it makes his life easier, so that it makes his life more convenient. How is that fair to her? I would say the same thing if with regard to Mary trying to impose herself back onto Kody. If Kody doesn't want to be in that relationship, and this isn't something that he wants to do, he's not fulfilled, he feels a certain kind of way about it, he doesn't like the way she talks to him, treats him, how she regards him, hell, he just doesn't like the way she walks, whatever the reason. If he doesn't want to be there, I'm not going to stand here and say because you were with her for so long and you have children together, you should stick together. That's ridiculous. And we have to start making those kind of points and observations, even in our own lives. If you're in a situation, and it doesn't have to be romantic, it could be professional. You could be in a professional situation where you're showing up to a job every day that you don't like, you don't want to be there, you hate that place, but you keep showing up. And you stay there because you were there, you worked there for 10 years, 15 years, and you don't know anything else. I understand it's scary to make those choices. I trust me when I say I understand it's scary to make these choices and to make those types of decisions. But these are the things that you have to do in order for you to find yourself and find your happiness. One of the things that happens when we start to get beat down in these situations, in these relationships, and it's something that Christine pointed out during the course of the tell-all, is that we become the thing that we need to be in order to survive. We stop being ourselves. We stop growing and developing and becoming the better form of us. Instead, we start to evolve so that we can survive the situation. And essentially what we were watching over the last 18 seasons were these women doing what was necessary in order for them to survive the situation or survive the relationship that they were in. Whether they were happy, whether they were sad, they just had to kind of suck it up, deal with it, put a smile on their face and walk out the door. That's no way to pursue a relationship. One of the things that I want to point out, because James, I like to bring them receipts. So I want to show what Kody had to say with regard to Christine leaving. And again, this is just going to be a short video that I wanted to do, kind of a breakout of one of the things or one of the topics that I noticed. There's a bunch of stuff that I noticed even from the tell-all that I want to talk about, but this is just one. There's a point where Kody is describing Christine leaving and why she felt that she had to leave and why she should have kind of stuck around and, kept his big picture, his idea of the big picture and the big family together. Let's take a listen to what Kody had to say.
It was an uncomfortable life with her when we were in Las Vegas, got a little worse in Flagstaff, and she says she's going to leave. And I never wanted that to happen. And I'm like going, oh, so we've suffered all these years together and you're just going to quit?
Now, the big point of that is, oh, she was a pain in the ass in Las Vegas. Then we go to Arizona, it gets much worse. And then all of a sudden, she's suffering and causing all these problems and making everybody's life miserable. And now she decides she wants to leave. So I guess we did all that suffering for nothing. No, it's not a matter whether you do that suffering for nothing. You did that suffering because you wanted to be in that situation, and this is a relationship that you were participating in. So it's not on her that you were suffering. You made commitments to one another. You try to live that commitment out. If things don't work out, you recognize that the commitment isn't working, and you decide that you want to part ways. She decided to take that option to where she was going to part ways, which was completely her right to do. Because when rubber met the road, Kody decided to take that option, and he decided to limit his commitment and his relationship, his time with her, because it was beneficial to him. If he was so heavy as far as the commitment was concerned, and it was less hypocrisy involved with that decision, then when it came time for him to divide his time and spend time over Christine's house and continue their, not only their spiritual and parental relationship, co-parental relationship, but to continue that physical, intimate relationship. And he decided to pull that back. No. That's part of the deal, right? Part of the commitment, part of the deal, part of your promises that you were going to fulfill all those things. And he decided that it didn't work for him to fulfill those things, which is his right to do. And I'm not saying that he should have ran over there and just laid up under Christine because out of some sense of duty. What I am saying is you have to be open-minded enough to recognize what's good for the goose is good for the gander. The same way you have the absolute right to decide to do what to do with your body, your future, your time, and your life, she has the absolute right to make those same decisions. And if you're both sitting there suffering, and in your perspective, you're both sitting there suffering through this, I don't have to suffer tomorrow in the next 10 years because I've already invested 10 into a relationship. If it's not working, it's not working. And more time on a problem is kind of like more money. You ever hear the old saying, don't throw good money after bad? Don't throw good time after bad time. If you misspent your time, don't take more time out of your limited, finite grouping and put it on top of something that's not working. We only have a certain amount of time on this planet. We borrow this. This is not ours. We're borrowing this from actually we're borrowing it from the next generation. This world belongs to them. They're going to come over, they're going to take this bad boy over, and then they're going to pass it on to somebody else. It doesn't belong to us. And because your time is limited, you have to be specific about who you spend your time with and what you spend your time on. You should be very discerning. That's the most valuable resource you have. So for Kody to make those demands of Christine is improper and it's unfair. Let's listen to what Christine had to say in response to Kody's assumption of foolishness and what he assumes Christine owes him. Let's take a listen.
I could just be me. And could I just be me sometimes with Kody? No, he didn't like that. He only wanted me to be positive. He only wanted me to be fun. He only liked the fun little bubbly part of me. Well, guess what? He doesn't get that. I'm not married to him anymore. I don't have to be all, oh, I'm so sorry you didn't feel good. And just stuff that in. I'm not going to stuff it anymore. He can't just see it.
And that's one of the more powerful messages for me in this particular episode, because what Christine was describing is that she had to pretend to be something she wasn't. In order for her to survive this relationship, she had to become the happy, kind, goofy, bubbly person. So when Kody comes in and he's having a bad day, she has to make him feel better. You know who does this? This is the job of the court jester or the clown. That's what their job is to do, is to amuse people and distract them away from their issues and their problems. That's the job of the clown. They don't care what happens. It's not smart. It's not funny comedy. It's not smart comedy. It's just enough to make you giggle. That's the job of the clown. And that's how Christine felt in her relationship. And could you imagine investing so much time, energy, and effort? You not only put your time and energy and effort into this relationship, but she also put her body and her womb into this relationship. She sewed 6 children into this union with Kody. And his response to her is, I never liked you and I never cared about you. And now that you're leaving, I'm mad at you because you decided to leave. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous in and of itself. And it tries to make her second guess and become insecure in her decision making and her ability to make decisions for herself. That's the whole purpose of his questioning of why she left and whether she should have left and if she really meant to leave and all that. That's the whole purpose of it, is to get her to question her decision-making ability. You can't make good decisions for yourself. You got to come back here and let me make decisions for you because you can't do it. You're not qualified. But it begs the question. She has to become the person that she needs to be in order for her to be herself. She had to separate from him and experience who she is. And it's fortunate that she had to wait till she was an older lady and to find out who she is, to develop her own identity. That's the unfortunate part. The fortunate part is that she was able to get to the point where she's able to discover herself, stand on her own 2 feet, and feel her emotions. It is extremely draining emotionally and everything else, psychologically, for you to have to pretend to be somebody you're not in order to make somebody else more comfortable. Because they can't stand in your light, you have to dim your light. Because they can't stand your intelligence, you have to dumb yourself down. It's extremely exhausting for you to continue to pretend to be that person. As an aside, I think that this, if anything, if Robin and Kody are having complications in their relationship, this would be part of that reason. Because when Kody comes over and he had the distraction of being able to go to other women's houses to spend time, Robin was able to rejuvenate her battery. She was able to recharge herself so that she could get Kody back in a couple days and then she could pretend to be this perfect woman that, you know, he adored so much. And then when he leaves, she could go back to being herself. But the whole idea of being in these types of relationships is simply this. You want to be in a relationship with somebody who wants to be in a relationship with you. And not just you, the person that they see, and the person that's fun, and the person that, you know, makes them laugh, or the person that cooks good meals, or whatever the case may be. You want them to be in a relationship with the person that you are. And you want them to want to be around that. So that way, when you start to grow and you get bigger in who you are and more developed and more established in who you are, they get to experience the more advanced version of you. But they can't appreciate that more advanced version of you if they don't like or appreciate or know the you of today. That's my take. I'm James. This has been My Take on Reality, and I'm out.